Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger. With me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Yes, I'm here, and with us always this week, from this week onwards, is the wonderful Craig.
Craig, the Discord recording bot.
He's going to be recording our conversations, so what happened last week doesn't happen again, because it turns out that we not only know nothing about game design or comedy, but also backups in the case of audio problems.
Yeah, we got cocky after 120 odd episodes with no problems at all, and Audacity fucked us. So anyway, this week we'll not have random weird cutouts and half of the games having to be thrown away. So shall we click pitch?
Yeah, and one day I'll actually go back and I'll give you a little bit of extra stuff when I can be bothered going and trying to fix up the other episode that we lost a few weeks ago for the same reason, and we should have learnt from that.
We should have.
But we didn't.
So, Trevor, what's this thing called Click Pitch? I've never heard of it before.
Click Pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us. On the count of 3, 2, 1 click, we're going to click refresh. Take those words, throw them at each other. Craig will record them for posterity, and then we'll come up with a game design out of those 2 words. And then when it doesn't work, we click it refresh again.
Yeah,
and we do it ad nauseum for about an hour, or in the case of last week, 35 minutes.
All right, well, let's jump right into it. 3, 2, 1, a click. Ballerina.
Contracting. Now, there's different ways that you could take this, like muscles contracting.
I was thinking like a contract builder, because I was thinking of like doing ballerina spins and like slapping paint on as you go past, like a choreographed ballet of tradie work.
Okay, I like this. So, what are the controls like? Are they simplified, or are they kind of like, sort of like skate, where you have to know the intricate sort of movements to actually do?
I like skate-inspired ballet controls. So like, to do I don't know any of the ballet terminology, but to do like a jump and spin, it's like an up and across on the thumbstick sort of thing, like an up and around. And you have to, time it right so that you land facing forward again, or facing the way you want to land anyway. Maybe you have to hit a button as you land to stick the landing.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether you need to sort of do almost like a Tony Hawk's version of it, where it's sort of a simplified version, where it's just sort of like you've got a button for jump, but then you've got like a button in a direction, and the L1, L2, R2 sort of triggers to sort of turn around.
Fire off tricks and stuff. Oh, yeah. I see. Yeah. I do kind of like, I feel like the equivalent of a manual is like a particularly toe-pointing move where you have to stay right up. I mean, I know ballerinas are almost always on their toes, but yeah, like having to balance it there in the happy zone.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether you actually land directly on the tips of the toes and you break toes, and therefore, you hurt yourself. I mean, or whether you can land on the ball and then move to the toe, like.
Well, you're the dancer, so you might have a bit more insight into.
I've landed on the tip of my toes before, and it fucking hurts. So we don't like doing that, especially as ballroom dancers. So I'd hope that ballerinas.
Well, then listen. If you are balleting your way through tiling a roof, don't jump down. Take the safe way down, which is fall into the arms of the strong male ballerina. You just got to get the move right and the timing down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A Tony Hawk-esque control scheme where you play a ballerina trying to construct a house or trying to renovate a house. How will the renovation moves work? Is this sort of going to be a timing thing that, like, as you're doing a spin, at a certain point in the spin, you like have to hit a button to
bash in a nail.
Yeah, to bash in a nail. Right? You're using your torque there as you spin to really like slam those nails in to put up some drywall.
I mean, you got to be kind of careful, because the problem with doing that is if you don't hit it at the right time, you're going to sort of hit it on an angle and, sort of bash it sideways into the wood. And that's never a good thing. It needs to be
or at
hit
the very
direct.
least, you're going to get a bent nail, and nobody likes that.
Okay, what if there's an upgrade to the hammer and you're spinning around with a nail gun after that?
Sure. I mean, that could be dangerous, but that's going to add to the fun.
It's certainly adding to the speed in which you can construct walls.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, there may be a speed aspect to it. You're going to get judged on speed, quality of construction, least amount of injuries and or deaths.
Artistic license, or sort of like an artistic score that basically says that this was well done, and the audience loved it because, by the way, this has been streamed out to an audience.
Yeah, well, I think that your ballet moves get judged, and I love the idea of having to, maybe you are up high on some scaffolding, I don't know, putting up guttering, and you're doing like these big ballet leaps, like I've got moves in front of me here, a grand jet from one scaffolding to the other, which is the long horizontal jump where they basically do the splits in the air and then land on their toes on the next one. So, you're going to get points for that.
Yeah. What you're not going to get points for is dying.
Well, less points. Depends if the house gets finished or not.
That's actually got some interesting ideas around it. Graphical style.
Yeah. So it depends on how much kind of movement around there is. Like, is this a set of sort of, okay, now you're doing this job, so it's sort of the rhythmic movement around just this particular wall, or is it you've sort of got free reign of the house? At which point, what could be interesting is almost a 2.5D sort of thing where, kind of like, did you ever play Fez?
Yes.
Where, so you're on like you're playing on a 2D plane on one side of the house, and it doesn't actually have to be the actual 2D graphics like Fez. I just sort of mean that angle. And so you might have a couple of activities to do sort of on that outer wall, but if you go to the edge, you can kind of spin around the side to the next wall, and then you're playing on that plane of the house. And that side of the house might have a door in it in which you go into the door, and it's sort of, the camera kind of moves forward and the outside of the house goes transparent, and now it's like, oh, this interior wall is what you're playing at. And so it becomes almost a 2D platformer kind of controls on each, like, vertical plane that you are sort of playing against. But yeah, you've got that control of doing the different things around the house. And so maybe in a very Tony Hawk-esque way, there may be, key, more efficient routes around the house to do the different tasks. But to really do it really efficiently, it might take some really difficult moves to pull off as you're on the upper levels of this house, or the scaffolding, or having to, maybe you have to do a mid-air transfer from one side of the house around the corner to the other by doing a fucking whatever ballet parkour move.
I think kind of like the later Tony Hawk games, that you've got some moves that can give you like a time bonus to go to the next trick.
Yep.
So if, say, you manage to, knock in 3 nails, you've got like 2 seconds to get that plaster sheet off the ground and up onto the wall to start
to like
screwing that in.
Complete the combo, or to keep the combo going.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can in one hit do like this amazing combo that is just going to be dance, move, hammer, dance, move, hammer, dance, move, hammer, pick up the plaster sheet, screw, dance, move, dance, move, and then all of a sudden, that whole wall is done, at least construction wise.
Yeah, and you didn't stop once.
Add in dance, paint, spin, wall finished, next wall, and you start all over again, and you're doing it in one combo. This is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, then you get massive bonus points for sure. I like that idea.
I'm just imagining that multiplier going up. Yeah.
And so then the next little wrinkle that we could maybe add is their multiplayer, and how would that work? Is it just the amount, the number of jobs you can do on the house, and with maybe some ways to sabotage. Like, if you time that nail gun right, it might not fire at the wall, it might fire at your opponent.
God, that's kind of scary. I'm picturing co-op would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Lots of lifts and jumps together, Yeah. Yeah, that would probably make more sense.
Install the fan. Drop them down. And it's like...
I can totally picture it too. Just because if you animate it, you could animate it so well. So yeah, it's just like, grab the fan, lift, arms out, arms up, screw it in, come down. I love it. All right. 3, 2, 1, click.
Configuration.
Icing. So there are 2 options on icing. Cake or ice, as in like an ice skating rink or this could be a Zamboni driving game.
Yeah, I mean, where my mind was going with it is there's actually a few different ways that you could take the icing as well. Icing that you're going to ice or murder other people.
Yep.
You're icing because you're making the drug ice. You're
it's a very versatile
de-icing.
word.
You're de-icing and therefore spreading salt around. Yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can take it.
Can we use all of them?
No, because I don't want to do a bakery one again.
No. Well, because we're using all the others, the bakery would just have to be a small aspect of it. Or maybe it's like, well, maybe it's not a bakery. Maybe it's like a kid's birthday party where they're going to an ice skating rink and one of them is going to be assassinated. One of the children.
By a Zamboni driver.
By a Zamboni. Yes. It's going to be made to look like an accident where they were very slowly run over and literally iced. And so configuration comes in, I don't know. I mean, my first instinct is to just go Hitman style where you're kind of trying to set up this thing to happen, but that actually is less interesting to me than, some other ways we could probably go.
Yeah, I mean, what's also going into my head is like this guy who's literally his only job is to go around and like de-ice steps.
Yeah. And
the one morning that he decides not to go do it is the morning that someone slips, falls, and breaks their neck.
Right. So he's racked with guilt.
He's racked with guilt, and I'm almost thinking that it's a robot breaking out of his configuration.
Oh, okay. It's a de-icing robot who failed, and the utter guilt drove this robot to gain sentience just so it could feel even more guilt. And now it's discovered this plan to kill a child at an ice skating rink, and it's going to use its powers of de-icing to save this child.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I kind of like the idea of taking that really overwrought story, but just making it like actually a really simple like arcade mobile game that just has aspects of this. So it's literally just a like trying to I don't know, almost like one of those like an endless runner or something, but you're having to de-ice things to stop stuff, or no, maybe not an endless runner, but like things are going past and it's a kind of Twitch based. You have to de-ice the right ice or something to slow things down or stop things from sliding. Well,
maybe if you think about like World 6 in Super Mario Brothers, that's all the ice level. Yeah. Imagine if you were in a platform game where you had limited amounts of salt that you could sort of throw down and get grit back on the platform.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting, actually. So you'd have to really strategically place salt so that you can actually, slow and stop yourself so that you can, wait for a hazard to go past or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm trying to...
I really like that.
Yeah, that's a really good mechanic. I'm sort of trying to get a handle on the graphical style, like the general feel for it, because I don't feel like the Mario kind of aesthetic works as well for this game.
No, I kind of like the idea of maybe like the graphics are kind of cartoony, like the background, but the character is like hyper real.
Okay.
So it's got that sort of juxtaposition of
these sort of simple comic bookish backgrounds. But when you say hyper real, is it still designed to sort of fit into? No, is it still designed to sort of fit into the comic book world, or is it like full on 3D rendered with like high def textures?
Well, I'm thinking 4K texture sort of support on
the robot that like takes up a 30 screen. Yeah, the height of your screen.
Not even a third. I'm thinking maybe like a fifth of the screen sort of thing.
Like a totally little platform. Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, there are sort of different, because I could picture a platformer that was a bit less Mario and a bit more, and this isn't entirely it, but this came to mind, but like Prince of Persia or Flashback.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You've kind of got maybe, 2 or 3 levels of the screen, like verticality wise. And yeah, it's a lot more, it's not so Twitch-based platforming, it's more strategic platforming where it is that you're icing. So there's almost this like, this robot's having to like, it's sliding along and it might slide like half a screen length, but you have to aim and fire out your salt so that you don't, go off a cliff or something. Is this a humanoid robot? I'm just trying to think of the animation
I'm wondering whether it's a robot that is kind of like Rosie the robot from the Jetsons. You know how it's got that single wheel down the bottom?
Right. Yeah, that could be interesting.
So I kind of like that idea that it's sort of like once you start in a direction, it's really, really hard to sort of stop and go back in another direction.
Basically you would have sort of, it will take you, if you're on regular ice, it will take you, 5 grid squares worth or something to slow down and turn around or something. But if you've iced it, it's only 2, or something like that.
Well, I'm imagining that you can also get like power-ups that are like a chain for the wheel that basically then grip the ice so that you can do a little bit more of that.
Right, but maybe it only lasts
the chains are only sharp for a short amount of time. So you can only go, as you go to stop, it basically loses grip.
Yep. Well, I like the idea of having some sort of grab hand or something that on certain parts of the level, it could reach out and grab something to like stop you. But if you're going, the regular speed that you would go on the ice, maybe it damages you a bit because of the jolt of it. So you will stop, within 1 square, but you'll take some damage. And again, you might only have a certain number of those or something.
Well, I think you got like a damage sort of meter at the top, and it's basically saying your left and right arm damage has a certain amount before it just gets ripped off.
And then you need to, or something.
Yeah, then you need to find a spare arm or collect your previous one and repair it at the next repair point.
Yeah. So what are the environments then that you're moving around in? Because is this sort of, since you're playing, this robot, is this almost what's the word? Like a cyberpunk-ish kind of future or something? Maybe not cyberpunk-ish. Maybe not the neon like that. I mean, I guess it could be a bit more Jetsons-ish. Sort of a futuristic version of our current world. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm kind of seeing it as almost more steampunk in the way that it's sort of gritty, but like a cartoony steampunk version.
Okay.
I'm picturing that this first level that they're going through is like through like a construction site sort of thing, and it's just a really, really cold day, and that's why all the girders and stuff have ice all over them. Because it's like winter, and it sort of starts it off.
Yeah.
But then I'm imagining that the next level goes through some rooftops as you're trying to. I'm just trying to think whether you're getting away from something or.
Well, you're trying to save this kid who's going to be assassinated at the ice skating rink.
True. I forgot that you said that about.
Yeah. That's the whole arc. I think this newly sentient de-icing robot, like you start on the streets because that was your job, right? It was like suburban streets. You were supposed to de-ice the footpaths or something. Someone gets hurt. You gain sentience via guilt now, and then somehow you
search the guy that accidentally got killed, and it turns out that he had a
contract.
He had like, well, no, I'm not thinking that it's a contract. I'm thinking he actually had like, information that this thing was going down, and he was actually going to go save this kid.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. And so as part of your kind of reparations for this guilt is you're going to do the job that he was supposed to do.
Yep. But now the cops are after you because, or the cops or the owners of your company, the scientists,
Right,
are
'cause
coming
you've
to
gone
try
rogue.
and reboot your configuration.
So who wants to kill this kid and why? Is this like a political assassination
It's
or
the president's son.
something? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all we need to
in
know.
this world, it's not Donald Trump Jr. It's although that could be kind of funny. Like
No, because nobody's going to want to save any of Donald Trump's kids. No, this
but
is a different...
You get there and it's like a 30-year-old. That is actually really, really funny.
Right, okay. Yeah, okay. I like that. It's just this, yeah. It's a sexy ice skating party. I don't know. Or he's just really juvenile. Okay. Yeah, all right. I like it. I think that probably covers it. 3, 2, 1, click.
I did like the Prince of Persia way that you went.
Yeah, that could be, I think that could be fun. I think that could be fun. Rebirth.
Clock
Rebirth. All right, so I've been playing this game that's just shown up on Xbox Game Pass called The Outer Wilds, and it's actually really interesting in that you play in a time loop.
Mm-hmm.
And so Rebirth and Clock made me think of that it's some sort of game where you are being reborn over and over. And now that could just be a way to give it sort of roguelike elements, or something like that. Or maybe you are reincarnated as something different every time, but, keep the knowledge or some sort of skills from your last run through.
Well, I kind of think that you do because you being the character remembers or you being the person playing the game remember everything that happened before. So it only makes sense if your character in the game also remembers that.
Yeah.
Unless it's got that awesome technology from Men in Black that it just sort of flashes out of light and you're like, oh, we're starting the game.
To the player?
To the player.
Are you saying that we retrofit
every time
we
that you
retrofit
die,
the Kinect to fire out the Men in Black memory erasing ray so that we can charge. Well, that's actually no good. That means that's really not a strategic way for a company to go, because people will just be happy playing the one game forever, and they won't buy any more games.
If you ever actually finish the game, then it does the unflashed version, and you realise that
that you've been playing it for 1,000
family
years
the entire time. You've been neglecting your family. Your family's left you.
Right. Yeah. All right. No, but let's see where we can go with a kind of rebirth time loop kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
I guess how could we? What's causing the time loop? Let's say. Let's start there. Is it magical? Is it scientific?
Have you seen the movies Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You?
I haven't, but I've been meaning to. So no spoilers, but I know that
no spoilers.
I know it is generally a time loop-ish sort of a movie.
So I'm not going to say what I was going to say then, because that gives away what sort of happens.
Okay. Shift it a bit so that it's not a spoiler, and then use that idea.
Okay.
Okay. Go on.
Let's take it in a scientific way then.
Okay. Some sort of generated black hole that bends the time-space continuum.
Some sort of quantum entanglement or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be actually kind of cool.
All right. Do you start as you maybe start as a scientist working on this experiment, but it'd be interesting if you jumped into somebody else's consciousness every time. So there's almost a quantum leapy aspect, but it's the same series of events from this, but now you're from this different person's perspective. So every time that your character dies, or you run out of time,
it basically replays everything that you've just done, but you're now playing a different character.
Well, I think that you've got goals, and this is taking some from the Outer Wilds, where in basically each run through the time loop, you're able to gather more information about what's going on, which means that the next time loop, you're able to sort of go straight to a place that you know about now or whatever. So I'm thinking a similar sort of thing, except because you're in different people, you've actually got different challenges each time, where it's like, oh, I know that I need to, I know that at this time this certain thing's going to happen. I'm going to have to stop it. But wait, I've just jumped into a teenage boy, and my parents have grounded me. And so you've got you keep jumping back this, I don't know, day or something, before a particular event happens with your experiment, and you're trying to prevent that from happening. But every loop you jump into someone else, and so you've got different challenges before you can kind of go on to find more out about how you're actually going to solve your main issue. I guess the only the difficult thing with that is we can't actually have unlimited, unless we procedurally generate them, unlimited characters for you to jump into.
Yeah, that makes it very, very hard. I'm picturing that the time that you jump into a prisoner, well, that's just like you blow that hour off.
Do you have are there only a limited number of time loops before, like, the universe is completely gone or something? I guess it comes down to what's the gameplay like, because I like this idea in general because I'm just thinking if you do have a limited number of time loops, that does give it a very roguelike-y aspect where you may not finish it the first time you play, right? Like, and a successful run doesn't mean, oh, now I'm done with this game. It just means, oh, I unlocked some more cool stuff. So I guess it comes down to what's the gameplay like.
It's got to be awesome, otherwise people are not going to want to play it.
Oh, okay. Well, then the game's done. Awesome gameplay. That's it. I mean, maybe this could be, if we really want to get ambitious with it, kind of an open world sort of thing where, well, I don't know. I was thinking like a Grand Theft Auto-esque kind of thing where it's just like by whatever means necessary, you've got certain goals and you have to do it within a certain number of time loops, but that might be getting out of hand.
Yeah, maybe. Whereas I'm sort of looking at almost like a Dark Souls-esque sort of death doesn't mean the end, it just means that you can get better.
Yeah, well that's also it. And I like that idea of, even though you're starting in a different character every time, you're getting a bit more knowledge about what happened and what led up to the accident or the event. And so generally you're going to have a specific goal as you are reborn, as the time loop restarts of, all right, I need to, or you might at least, you've got a couple of, you've got a few leads. It's like, okay, I can try to talk to this person, but, I'm in an old man's body or whatever, and they're not going to take me seriously because they won't believe who I am or something. So, I'll wait another time loop before I do that one, but maybe I can, do this other investigation to find out the phone number of someone who I'm going to be in need to call. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got different ways that you're filling out almost this knowledge map that's going to lead you to figuring out how to actually solve this thing.
So the next thing I'd like to throw into this as a little bit of a difference is, yes, there are time loops and all this sort of stuff, but what is actually happening as you find out that each time that you die in the game, you actually have doomed that particular dimension to failure.
Yep.
And you're moving into another one.
Yeah, a different.
But as soon as one of these dimensions actually make this or finish it properly, basically these multi-dimensional aliens are actually defeated throughout all the different timelines.
Okay.
And that way it's sort of like a little bit of a creepy sort of end to the story. You realize that all these other dimensions beforehand are totally burned in ashes.
Right. Well, I do like the idea, and this might just be a general. I don't know if this applies to this one because it sounds like we're going more to a just a single narrative as opposed to a procedurally generated roguelike sort of thing. But I do love the idea of a roguelike with time loops where you keep track of all the branched timelines that you've created, and at what point you doomed them to destruction, and it could be interesting then that late game in a roguelike like that, you get the power to jump back into a previous timeline and pick up where you left off with more tools or something it could be an achievement to go back and resolve every timeline you started as you played through the roguelike. But now with all your additional options and skills and stuff, that could be really cool.
Yeah, because it turns out that
go on.
You're like a multi-dimensional alien hopper. That is,
yeah,
your consciousness itself is actually one of these multi-dimensional aliens.
Right? Yeah.
But
I feel like
That's why
I feel like
you're
we're
able to
making
control
two
these
games simultaneously here.
Yeah, I know.
One is both with time loops. One's a narrative game where you're jumping into different people trying to discover and solve the mystery, and then the other one is
I'm trying to come up with like a cohesive way and cohesive reason as to why you're controlling these different characters.
No, I like that idea of the multidimensional alien for sure. But even just from a gameplay point of view, like if it's the investigatory stuff, then it's harder to fit into the roguelike kind of mold. But I really like some of the roguelike ideas for this whole time loop thing. So yeah, I think there are two ways you could go with that, and they're both really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But we're done with both of them. So 3, 2, 1, click. Snowstorm.
Synthesizer.
Ooh, a snowstorm synthesizer. Or a synthesized snowstorm. A rhythm game set in a snowstorm, just aesthetically.
It's a video game adaptation of the Avengers, but not the Avengers that we all think of as the one with Uma Thurman and Sean Connery is like the weatherman.
Was there a snowstorm? Oh, okay. I don't think I ever saw that movie or knew the comics or whatever they were.
Yeah, so in that movie, Sean Connery played a bad guy. It was like his last role ever or something like that, or close to. And he tried taking over the entire world with different like weather effects. So I've immediately gone straight to that horrible thing to try and get a better story out of it.
So we're remaking the old Avengers, the Avengers. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. So you can either play Uma Thurman or whoever the other guy was in that.
It was Ralph. How do you say his last name?
Rafe Fiennes.
Rafe Fiennes. Rafe. Yeah.
Yeah. It's spelled Ralph, but it's Rafe.
I knew that one of his names was not pronounced the way it's said, but I did the wrong one. So I don't know. So these were secret agents. Is this it?
Yep.
All right. This is going to be a tough one because I'm basically just going to have to go off the brief synopsis.
Okay. So literally you choose one of two characters at the start.
Yep.
/ co-op.
Okay.
And
okay.
Basically we take the idea of Sean Connery is the bad guy.
Like literally the actor Sean Connery.
Well, Sean Connery's bad guy in that film is the bad guy, and that's all you need to know. Like from then on, like we can put this out at however we want. Like a co-op beat 'em up that's in 3D could be awesome.
Can we make it that the actor Sean Connery is the bad guy? Because I actually like that better. So you're two British super spies, or one of two, depending on if you're playing co-op, trying to defeat Sean Connery.
The whole time there are two characters that you're going out, are together because it's a drop in drop out sort of co-op thing.
Okay, and does the AI take over though? If
AI take over.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So 2-player, side scrolling beat 'em up esque sort of thing could be good.
Side scrolling, but in 3D.
Yeah.
Really want this 3D.
Yeah,
thing.
sure. Sean Connery is trying to revive his career with a giant sci-fi weather-changing machine for some reason. He thinks that's going to work. He thinks that if he solves climate change, then he'll get another movie and people will love him again. I assume he retired for a reason, but whatever.
He retired because he didn't want to be in the limelight anymore. And
well, he changed his mind in our game.
In this alternate universe, he changed his mind.
Yeah.
And the Avengers, but not Marvel's The Avengers, was good.
Yeah. That's we're going to have to make that the title of the game. The Avengers, but not Marvel's Avengers. Because otherwise people are going to be really confused. All right. So what sort of moves did that? Like, are they just kind of high-tech-y spies? Like, are they James Bond-esque, or like, are we talking sort of Kingsman style stuff? Yeah.
So from what I remember, Rafe had like, sort of Kingsman-like abilities, but with a cane, and like there was a sword in the cane as well. So that was kind of cool. And like Uma Thurman was just like awesome and kick the shit out of.
Are we adapting the movie, or are we adapting the source material
original
that the movie
TV show
was originally based on? Was it a TV show?
It was a TV show, from what I remember.
Okay. So is this one of these things? I kind of like the idea of going a bit cartoony with it in that, it's kind of stylized versions of, and they could take the Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes look if they wanted, but that we're actually adapting the original TV series. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So, do they have like special moves they do together and stuff?
Yeah, I'm sort of picturing like take that technology that they did for God of War, where it's just sort of over the shoulder.
Yep.
But it's all melee sort of stuff. I just reckon that would work really, really well for a combat fighting game sort of thing.
Okay, so if this is co-op though, it's not same screen co-op, or it's split screen, or how?
No, it's split screen / separate
Online.
places.
Yeah.
Link your consoles together.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, so you're doing sort of like, because you talked about like the sword and the cane and stuff. So you're almost like fencing, and it's sort of high class
fencing on one
fighting.
side. You've got high class fighting on the other side. With lots
Fisticuffs.
of flips and shit. Yep.
Okay. Let's. I rather than dive too deep into the sort of the canon of the Avengers, but not Marvel's Avengers. Maybe let's just talk about the general, like how this could work as a, like you said, the God of War style. So you're sort of fighting a bunch of enemies at once, potentially. And there's not a lot of that sort of multiplayer around these days. I feel like where it's third person online. I mean, I guess there's stuff like For Honor or whatever, which would come along that sort of lines.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm picturing almost a combat system, well, like almost, your Batman Arkham sort of stuff, but in a co-op sort of session could actually be kind of cool.
That could be interesting. Right, so that faster movement kind of thing where you're basically, they're almost but not quite quick time events in a way, where it's like, there's an attack coming, so block, punch, flip over, throw,
counter.
Block, counter, yeah. But then you could have we're near each other at near the same time. If we both hit, right bumper when the flash comes up to say that it's available, then we're going to do like a super move together.
Yep. Like Rafe grabs Uma and, spins her around in the circle while she's kicking out out of the circle and kicks everyone away. And
that classic kind of move. Yeah, for sure.
I'm picturing that there's also parts of the game in which, your characters are going to sort of have to go in different directions sort of thing. So you're on your own for this little part, but you've got to get to a part and flick a switch so that the next person can get through, sort of like the typical co-op.
Yeah.
He does something, she does something, and then they both catch up again later on. The game of the Gears of War sort of stuff. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that could be cool. And then you kill Sean Connery, and his career is definitively over. Sorry, Bond.
And the good thing is, like, there's lots and lots of stories that you can go at from the original source material that gives more DLC.
Yeah, for sure. And you can do crossovers. Spider-Man can show up. Ant-Man. You've got so much material there.
Wrong universe. Wrong universe.
Right.
Not Marvel.
Not Marvel. Oh, yeah, okay. I got confused. All right, 3, 2, 1, click.
Attach.
Elk.
Ooh.
Something around hunting or maybe you play like a big cat hunting elk on the, wherever they hunt.
Okay, what if this was, and I know this is a little bit different.
Okay.
What if this was sort of like set in one of those big game hunter sort of games?
Yep.
But you play a druid in the forest that is sick and tired of all these elk being killed by these big game hunters.
Yep.
So you start hunting the hunters.
Love it. Okay. Yes. I like it a lot. Are we going fourth wall breaking here where, cause you've got all those like arcade machines. Is this kind of a Wreck-It Ralph style you're actually trying to save the elk in Big Game Hunter, the arcade machine, and you get to like see the reactions, or you actually get to like do something to the people playing the game. Almost also a little bit of duck season, but where you're not, where you've got that thing and it's like, oh, there's the person and there's the screen behind them where you can see out to where the actual person is.
But you're like playing the dog in that game instead of...
Yeah, like it'd be like you're playing the dog. Yeah, exactly. But so, yeah, you're playing the druid within, is that what it's called? Big Game Hunter? I don't know, whatever. This character who is manifested within the code because all these elk keep getting killed endlessly because that's what the game's about. Mm-hmm. And she is getting revenge. And
yeah, so I think one of the things that was happening in the intro cinematic is, I mean, druids in D&D can wild shape, and this druid was wild shaped into an elk and got shot.
Okay.
And realized that having to survive it and all this sort of stuff, wild shape back and realized that there's all these dead elk in this part of the forest.
Yep.
Decide that they're going to go on a murderous rampage to save their beloved elk.
Okay. And
yeah, I do like that idea of the Wreck-It Ralph sort of view of seeing like a robot with a shotgun and a screen.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And if you look on the screen, you see basically the view of the person playing from the perspective of the game machine.
Yep.
And so every time you kill one of these...
The graphics that I'm picturing on that is almost like the game Portal. You know how when you look through it, you can like see on all the different angles, so you can't necessarily see them unless you're looking straight on.
It's not a flat screen. It's a portal into their world, basically. Yep. Yeah, that's cool. And I love the idea that you use your druid powers to take out one of these robot things and it falls down dead and sparking, and you can just look through its screen into the player on the other side, just going, what the fuck happened? Like, this game's busted. This weird fucking force just came out and, grew trees around me and I couldn't shoot my way out of them and I died. Like, I've never seen that in this game before.
I'm picturing what would actually be cool about this portal, though, is the big orange gun that they've got on these games actually sticking out of the portal. So that's the thing that's like moving around.
Yep. Yeah, I like that.
I like that a lot.
Well, and then so I like the idea that you can bring in some recurring characters of the people who come to play this game.
Yep.
And the way that they react to the game, to what the things that you do will change, in different ways. Like there's just the casual player who's just going to be like, oh, well, that was a waste of money. But then there's like the guy who comes here every single day to make sure his high score is still there. And he's almost your main antagonist. He's going to get really pissed off when this starts happening. And go to complain to the manager, and you get to sort of watch those conversations happen if you want. And I don't know how much you force the player to see that story, but it's there if they want it.
Yeah. So what are the powers of the druid?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the sort of main? Like? What's even the main gameplay? Is this kind of I'm almost picturing a Tomb Raider-esque vibe where you're able to sort of, be going up in trees and sort of watching as this robot goes through beneath you and, setting traps or, using your powers to like snare it by controlling the plants, or you can, lure it by what did you say? Wild shape? I don't know.
Yep.
Turning into an elk, and it like so you'd lead them somewhere where you've maybe set up traps or you've got a better position to then take them out or something like that.
You lead them to like a cave, and then there's like this big boss bear sort of thing that just comes out and rips it to shreds.
Yeah, exactly.
From what I know, I mean, the Big Game Hunter sort of games are almost on rails. So I kind of like the idea that you see like these train tracks weaving through the jungle.
Oh, and you can change them then. Like maybe that's one of the things you can do is, you send them off to the boss that they're not ready for yet, and it just decimates them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be kind of cool. And then you can, send them off against each other. Like, have basically the track turn around and repeat on itself, and it's going up against the person just coming up behind. So they end up shooting each other, sort of thing.
Like in the next console, in the linked console to them.
Yeah.
You can cast the spell to make one of them look like an elk, and they just get shot in the head by the other player.
And it physically manifests themselves. So the person actually gets shot in the
person
head.
actually dies. Well, that was the other thing. Like, do you get to the point where you're able to, have some effect on the player outside, or is it all just within the game?
I think it's all within the game, so that you're trying to get the game sort of shut down.
Right. Yeah, it's almost the opposite of Wreck-It Ralph, where you're trying to have them shut the game down by nobody wanting to play it anymore because they can never win. It's rigged.
Yeah.
That druid character they added, how did they do that? Was that in I didn't know arcade games had DLC. Druids level contents. Druid level contents. All right, 3, 2, 1, click.
Scatter.
Bard. Just to stick with the D&D rolls.
Yeah.
Rolls. I meant ROLES, but dice rolls. Funny. Bard and Scatter. Well, there aren't many games where you play a D&D-esque Bard. Maybe we can literally set this in, this can literally be a Dungeons and Dragons licensed game.
Mm-hmm.
Where you play a Bard. I guess, are we going kind of, Baldur's Gate style party-based RPG? Something more action-based, just something else set in that world?
Are we going Skyrim, but with Guitar Hero mechanics for the loot that the character will be playing?
Yeah.
So you got role playing going around, but then when you go, when you get into a fight with the rest of your party, then you've got Guitar Hero moves that you got to sort of do.
Yeah, I like the idea of no real combat. It's all just buffs and debuffs with rhythm mechanics. That could certainly be interesting. Now, whether we go the Skyrim mode or I was almost, and this is not necessarily gameplay wise, but almost just graphical style wise, going to a Shadow of Mordor kind of thing.
Okay.
Where, I don't know. I guess it's just more that kind of just the positioning of the camera and the size of the characters on the screen. And I don't know, there's something about that appeals to me in a game like this.
Yep.
But then, all your moves are running around and playing your lute. Playing these little, fucking medieval tunes.
It's all green sleeves.
It's all green sleeve. Every single tune is to green sleeves. Is that when you press you've got a pedal? You've got a
you've got a pedal that goes into metal mode. Activate star power.
Activate star power. Look, a lot of people have plastic instruments gathering dust on their shelves. We will be doing them a service and giving them a reason to pull them out for a 60-hour RPG.
200-hour.
Oh, come on.
Side quests.
This isn't Final Fantasy or whatever. I don't know. Those games always claim hundreds of hours.
All the side quests in Skyrim, I swear, you could take a lot longer than what you think you could.
Yeah, probably. That's because you just get lost climbing up and then spend half an hour trying to climb a mountain.
Okay, so how can we make this a little bit different?
Other than just playing a bard who can't participate in combat in any other way.
So it's a Valve Index exclusive. You must have the Knuckles controllers.
Okay. Wait, so do you still need the Guitar Hero controller, or is this now virtual?
I'm now thinking it's virtual.
Okay.
or that's like the special mode, like the you can play the normal mode, which is kind of weird to actually control, because to move around, that really shitty digital joystick that it's got on the that's got on those controllers.
Yeah.
That's what you got to use to move around.
Isn't it just like a 4-directional fucking D-pad?
Yep. But then you can play the index version, but you got to be really good at playing the guitar, sort of thing.
Right, because you have to put it has to track your fingers in the right place.
Exactly.
Yeah. What might work better in VR is, instead of maybe if you're playing in VR, instead of playing a lute player, you're playing a drummer who has magical drums that appear in front of them. Because I feel like
that's the Oculus version.
Yeah, because I feel like moving your hands in VR to play drums is going to be a lot more natural. And then it's just the rhythm stuff again. And so maybe there's multiplayer. Where you've got a couple of
but
looters.
It's all bards.
Yeah, it's just a party of bards. It's a bard party. And well, I guess you'd have to maybe you've still got AI fighters and rangers and whatever else, wizards and shit. But you can double down.
No, I'm just picturing a party of bards now. Like there's no actual combat going.
How do they ever defeat anyone? They just have to like put like status effects on them until they all run away. And what did you say? Yeah. No, I do think there's something interesting there. But I feel like we kind of got lost in the weeds. So maybe let's do one more to finish off.
Yeah, I think we got to.
Oh, no, I'm not going with that. I can't get back into Star Wars right now. All right, what do you have?
Rubbish.
Epic.
Epic rubbish.
Epic rubbish. Or, so, the true sense of the word epic is just, a story that has... I don't know, is it that it covers a large span of time or just is it about let me look it up. Because it means like, it's a particular type of story, right?
Yep.
A long poem, typically one derived from ancient oral tradition narrating the deeds and adventures of heroic or legendary figures or the past history of a nation. Or just, heroic or grand in scale or character. I like the idea of taking something as lowly as rubbish, whether it's the rubbish itself or maybe like a garbage collector or something like that.
I think you go even more like mundane of like, this is just like one of the guys in the booth at the tip.
Okay.
And it's the epic story of what happens to him in this one day.
In one day. All right.
Well, the day that it all changed. Like,
okay, well, that's the day that this epic journey began.
Yeah.
Shall we follow?
Because I think the garbage man goes around, a lot of different places and could be in a lot of different interesting situations. The person who works in the sales office at the tip, literally just gets to see people driving up and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. All right. So this guy is living... Or girl. They're living a tedious life until the hero's journey calls them and they get a call to adventure. Do they find something in the tip that sets them on this path?
I think so. I think... I'm just wondering if it's kind of like a glowing rock situation or if it's
something valuable.
Something like a family heirloom or something that they see on the ground. And they're trying to track down this person, and in the meantime of them doing this, they inadvertently stop some sort of nefarious deed that is actually going to do harm to this family.
Okay, so they find
a locket.
And they realize it's valuable. Working in a tip, you start to get an eye for if what's out of place. What's not garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Is their first instinct to keep it or to like sell it? Their first instinct is to pawn it for, some quick money. Because they're like, maybe this is something they do semi-regularly anyway. Like if something comes in that's got at least a bit of value, then, they'll poach it and sell it. But then they open up.
They go to pawn it.
They open up the locket perhaps and something inside makes them realize that there's something larger at play here.
So is it like the typical, thing almost like from Pulp Fiction where you never found out what was actually inside the
No, I think we give it a reason. I think it's something around, maybe they open the locket and see people in there that they recognize, like, and there was some news report about someone who'd been kidnapped or something, and they realize this is that person's locket.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so they realize, oh shit, like, if I'm actually a good person, then I've got some evidence here. I need to follow this up. I need to see what I can do to help. Yep. And so they leave the tip.
Well, I think one of the things that happens first is they go back through like some of the footage and find like one of the people in the locket was there. One of the people who who actually, was at the tip.
Okay.
And
So
that's
they
how
were-
they sort of start off their thing, and their journey actually just leads them to this kidnapping victim, and they save that person. But it goes into a larger story of maybe this tale of redemption from this person who's cheated a lot of people out of different things, to now realizing that they're actually a good person.
Right. Okay. So you're saying that they were a bit of a criminal before, and like taking advantage of people and selling people's stuff. I mean, if they're taking it to the tip, I don't know how much of an issue that is, but they're a bit dodgy, and this is giving them some sort of purpose.
Right. On the grey side of the spectrum.
Sure.
People are throwing these things out, but it's also people that lost things that had mysteriously fallen out of their car or something like that, and they obviously didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, sure.
Gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, it feels kind of like a
Point and clicky.
Yeah, point and clicky or third person, like, and again, like adventure-ish. I don't know, there's not combat or anything. It's all around investigation and dialogue, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's, I don't know if there's anything novel we can do there, or if it's just kind of track this down. Are we doing inventory puzzles? Are we doing,
I think there's a lot of problems with inventory puzzles.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think maybe maybe a 3D point and click, like a third person, a bit of a fucking, what's that called? Never mind, I've forgotten. I guess like Gabriel Knight 3, but no. That's going too far back.
Or Grim Fandango.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the sequel to The Longest Journey. Dreamfall. Yeah, I kickstarted it, never played it. It just happens way too often. But yeah, so that sort of thing. Yeah, I like it.
Yep, I like it too.
All right, that wasn't the most exciting idea to finish up on, but anyway, we will finish up there. If you want to find us online, Bitstorm is the name of our podcast. I hope you realize that since you've been listening to it for the past hour. Go to podchaser.com/Bitstorm. You can find all our links there, links to our creator profiles where you can see what else we've been on. Check out our user profiles now, something that we've just added to see our top 8 podcasts. See if your podcast is in there, if you have a podcast, or your favorite podcast. And you can also see us on 8bit.net. We are part of the 8bit Collective. This is a group of podcasters who all have similar interests. We all work together as part of that collective. And if you go to 8bit.net/Bitstorm, you can see our page there. But make sure to also check out some of the other great podcasts on the network.
Also, you can check out the AGPN, the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Search for the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook or AGP Network on. Finally, we'd like to thank the wonderful group Kuradust that we're part of for the use of their song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
That's it. So thank you again for joining us on Bitstorm this week, episode 130. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And
something, Avengers, not Marvel.
And I can't wait to see Uma Thurman face off against Thanos.